Cryptocurrencies. I remember the moment when the term cryptocurrency actually made sense to me. It was when I realized that there was much more to cryptocurrency than just bitcoins. I remember when I tried to explain this enormous decentralized system to my friends and family, it flew right above their heads. And that's part of why I've decided that I will record this episode today. And I believe education is the key to mass adoption of such new technology. I really hope after this episode you get some clue on what's exactly happening around this buzzword, cryptocurrency. Let's get started with today's episode. Welcome to Glitch. Hi, welcome to Glitch, a podcast exploring tech news, how stuff works, innovation in our day-to-day technology, and the news surrounding them. I'm your host Vikram. I'm so excited that you are here. Thanks for joining with me today. Hi everyone. It's been a long time since I recorded the podcast, and there's a lot of updates from my life side. I have moved to Poland. That's a good news, and things have been really good on my side. That's exactly why this delay in recording this episode, and it's been a long time. I want to record a new episode and end this season with just my personal stuff and answering few of the comments I am receiving. I know I don't have a lot of followers, but the few I have are really active in reaching out to me, and this episode has been a long due for me. Believe me, there's been a lot happening. I wrote the script for the episode back in December of 2021, and it's March 2022. I know it's something which I want to change from my side and keep the episodes regular, because I love recording these. Now, enough of that. I think I'll get started with the episodes, and you know where to reach out to me on Instagram and the social media handles I have attached with this site. Since human beings evolved, currency has been an important part of our lives. So when our society was in its early stages and there was no such thing called money, the only way to buy something from someone is have to go to them and be like, "Oh, I really like your horse, and I will trade my cat for it." But the issue with such a system like that was, even though you might be happy to give up your horse, you just might not want a cat. That's where this currency came in. Coins. Which, because they were made up of precious metals like gold and silver, everyone just accepted it. For example, the British pound is called a pound because 1 pound used to be literally 1 pound of silver. Now in my trade example, I can still trade my coin for a horse, even though I don't need a cat. Convenient, right? Then came the paper money. Banks became established and government took over this control. This built a trust system. The paper money's value comes from the government assuring its value. Now, as technology improves and becomes more advanced, more people are buying things online and using their credit cards. We are at a point where we don't see our money anymore. It's no longer about notes, coins, or even cats. And all these converges to entry in a spreadsheet. Let us say I buy something online. My bank adds an entry in my spreadsheet saying Vikram has $10 less, an online dealer's account which gets added $10 more, and it pretty much boils up to this point where the entire spreadsheet is what our money is all about. Now this entire intro is given about how money works. Let's see where exactly the cryptocurrency sits in. I would say this is the most convenient era ever, because to help you think about cryptocurrency, it's 100% virtual. With crypto, there is no gold, no silver, or no paper. Crypto is basically transfer of digital assets. It's literally running spreadsheets on who paid to whom. But instead of multiple banks keeping multiple records, with crypto, it's an enormous spreadsheet of every transactions ever made. And this is called as a ledger. Now, that said, why everyone is crazy about crypto? What's all this noise about crypto around the internet? As a tech geek, it's the concept of blockchain which makes me go wow, which is a technology behind the cryptocurrency and coins like bitcoins and ethereums. Blockchain is a new network, and it's going to help us in decentralizing trade, allowing us to do a lot more transactions peer-to-peer directly and lower our use of intermediaries like companies or banks maybe. I know blockchain is a much more complicated term and a concept to be explained over a single episode in a podcast, but I will try my best to explain the concept here. A blockchain in this context is a persistent, transparent, public, and append-only ledger. So it's basically a system where you can add data and not change the previous data within it. And it does this by creating a mechanism for creating consensus between the distributed parties that do not need to trust each other. It just needs to trust the mechanism for creating these consensus. Now, I don't want to get into the technical details of how blockchain does this mechanism in a most randomized way, but in the end, it just ensures that no one can force the blockchain to accept a particular entry on the ledger that others disagree with. Depending on who you ask, cryptocurrency is the biggest transformation of money since the invention of paper money, or it's the biggest of the scams. One major problem every payment system has is to prevent double spending, which is to prevent one entity from spending the same amount twice. Usually, this is done by a central server which keeps control and records of all the balances. Since in our case, cryptocurrencies are decentralized and we need our peer networks to validate these transactions, let's take an example where I give X bitcoins to my friend and it's digitally signed by me. Here, signing digitally basically means I attach a unique random number to my transaction. When I sign, this is broadcasted to the peer-to-peer network. After a specific amount of time, the transaction gets confirmed. Nothing special happening here. This is where the miners come in. In this peer-to-peer network, only miners can confirm a transaction. It is their job to confirm a transaction in a cryptocurrency network. They take a transaction and stamp them as legitimate and pass it to the peers. For this job, the miners are rewarded with cryptocurrencies, for example, bitcoins. Anybody can be a miner, they just need to use some of their computer's power to qualify for this task. Let's say when a transaction is done in this peer-to-peer network, every miner competes to solve a cryptographic puzzle. After finding a solution, a miner confirms this transaction and adds to the blockchain. As an incentive to do this, they can receive a payment from the network in a form of cryptocurrency. So this is the gist of it. Every miner tries to compete, and whenever a transaction is made, they try to compete and they try to authenticate this transaction and say, guys, this transaction is good to go. And this gets added to the blockchain. And this is where all the mining and crazy miners come in. And this is where all the computer graphics card and every prices go up because they're competing to prove that their computer is better in solving a puzzle. A cryptocurrency here is a monetary incentive offered for anyone who is willing to keep the network secure. Now, this very character of cryptocurrency, a mechanism for a peer-to-peer network that can maintain updates to the ledger and verify those updates in such a way that is impossible for defraud and impossible to alter after once an entry is made. In my opinion, this mechanism of blockchain is a fundamental breakthrough. Like for example, blockchains can change the way we vote. Since it's transparent enough that any regulators would be able to see if someone has altered on the network, it integrates the A's of voting with unchanging nature of the blockchain itself, and it can make the vote really count. Now, the most important aspect I wanted to talk about in today's episode was to address the hype around cryptocurrencies. It is those initial coin offerings with the blockchain, and the way I see the blockchain technology, that it's an idea with an enormous potential significance down the road. However, with the promise of these initial coin offerings, it's kind of hijacked into a string of desperate gold rush of making money schemes. In my view, the faster we shift from this fantasy that's going to make you rich, it's better for us. It is the sooner that we get into people being disappointed in blockchain and cryptocurrency, where we say, oh, I didn't get rich. Is it just being used to make my life easier and to translate goods online and get services safe across the globe? That's where I want to go. Then we will see this technology becoming part of everyday infrastructure. And in my view, it's going to be very significant. And I think being connected with the concept of money is widely very hyped. And it's a lot of people getting excited around it and they are waiting for the world to change. With a lot of PR and a lot of proof of concepts happening around this, I don't blame the people here. But to be honest, it's more like a science. It will develop. It will take 5 to 10 years. And that kind of time is necessary for this kind of technology to gain traction. So coming to conclusion, cryptocurrency is obviously new. I would say we are in pre-email or even the infancy of internet those days, when people were not sure about the technology and what they were using for. We were making fun of emails. Back in 90s, there were movies which used to make fun of emails. We never knew what we had. We never knew what it was going to give us. So we are kind of on those stages of cryptocurrency. It is low in adoption and still relatively niche when you compare with gold and fiat money. So anytime soon, we're not going to see blockchain and cryptocurrencies emerge out of nowhere and say we are going to change this. But we are going to see a significant development in artificial intelligence, and we are going to see technologies evolving, and we are also going to see more connected devices growing with Internet of Things. With cryptocurrencies like IoTA, things are looking a lot promising for me. I think this interesting synergy will help us elevate the identifiable and verifiable trust among currencies and transactions. There are a lot of improvements needed in this side of technology, but I see this as a novel idea, and holding such a novel technologies to unrealistic standards it's not what I expect out of these technologies. In terms of what they are supposed to deliver, the way I see this is with a slight improvement in the system, we will lead to a significant impact the way we operate. We are going to see problems with these technologies. We need to develop multiple standards that are kind of going to give us some flexibility. But this is going to be a system or a version of a system that is going to allow us to fix some of the things we have broken today. So with this, we reached the end of this episode, and stay tuned to Glitch. Until then, do widzenia.